Hello, my name's Rich and this is my first ever YouTube video. I've done this video because I'm planning to do a sequence of videos throughout the year to talk about my three classic car performance cars all from Germany. I struggle to really find good quality videos of these cars on YouTube. Anything that involves owning and running and how they drive today, 15 years old. They're all about 15 years old. They've all covered somewhere between 70 and 80,000 miles. Let me quickly introduce the three cars to you. The first one on the right you can see is the Mark 1 Audi TT. This is the 3.2 V6 Quattro. We then have the Porsche Boxster S987 Gen 1, and then on the left is the Mercedes-Benz SL500, the R230. If we just take a quick look at the first one, this part one of this video is just giving a real quick introduction into these, and then I'm going to post videos every couple of weeks throughout the whole year about running costs and how these cars are performing, how they handle, what's really good about them, what's really bad about them, the highs, the lows, and everything really about these cars. So first of all, the Audi TT Mark 1. This is the 3.2 VR6 engine. It's a fantastic engine, it really is, producing just under 250 brake horsepower. This comes with the optional DSG gearbox, which is a paddle shift gearbox, and I know some of you purists would prefer manual, and this is not to say what's the best, and I'll give you my true views of the DSG. I'm just going to walk around the back to get a better look at the back of the car. So it's front engine, four-wheel drive. This has done 75,000 miles. I think for me, you can see it's got the larger 3.2 V6 spoiler. I think the Mark 1 TT came out 98, all the way through to late 05, early 06, and I think it's a true icon. The TT, I think the way it's looked, I think it's aged brilliantly well, and I think it's a nailed-on classic, other than the fact that it was so successful that Audi sold about 40,000 in the UK, and as a result of that the market's been saturated, so it's really suppressed values, which is great for people like you and I that are interested in cars like this, because you can pick up TTs now for not much more than £1,000, and I'm not saying you buy one at that value, but even the 3.2 V6s go from sort of 3-4k will wrap you up an okay one. So this is in pretty excellent condition, and I'd market this at somewhere between probably 5.5k. But a great car, looks great. It's got the DSG gearbox is actually, I think, really good gearbox. I think it suits this car really well, and the sound of it is absolutely brilliant. But it doesn't come without its negatives, and it's quite a harsh ride. It's so firm. The steering does give a little bit of lacking on feedback. And for practicality, these are no garage queens. These get used, and the difficulty here is that there's no cup holders, and to some people that might seem a little thing, but if you're a commuter, if you're stuck in traffic, or if you want to go on a long journey, then things like that can be quite annoying, and I wish Audi would have thought about things like that. And we'll talk about, in later reviews when I specifically focus on this car, we'll talk about all the options you've got, and there's certainly relatively cheap, low-cost mods to get cup holders done, but I like to keep my cars standard as they left the factory. The second car in my lineup was 2005, so again, slightly newer this one, Porsche Boxster S987 Gen 1. So this has got the 3.2 flat 6-cylinder mid-mountain engine producing 280 brake horsepower. This runs on 19-inch lobster claw alloys, these are, which I particularly like. This is Tiptronic, so again, I've driven manual, This is not biased. I generally want to say things that are good and bad about the cars, and as I say, this one is the Tiptronic. So I love the colour, this grey colour. This, until I bought the Audi TT first, and I always thought the TT was a great car with regard to handling and steering, but when I picked up the Boxster S, it just communicates back to you absolutely. All the feedback is absolutely fantastic. As you can see, there's the twin exhaust of the S, single exhaust. If it's just the base Boxster, there's the engine right down there between the back seats. You can't see that. That's one of the negatives of the car itself. Such a fantastic flat six engine, and you're never going to see it, and that's okay once you know the car's in good condition. But when you're buying these, if you're buying privately, it's the only car I've ever had to buy privately where I've never actually seen the engine. But it's relatively practical as well, because you've got luggage compartments in the front and in the rear. So, and again, later views I'll have a look at that in far more detail. And then we'll move on to the final car, which is the Mercedes-Benz SL500, the R230 model. So these came out, this is 2003, they came out then and ran for about 10 years, and this has got a 5 litre V8 front engine, full auto as they all were. It's got Tiptronic paddle shift, but generally I just use this in auto only. Producing just over 300 horsepower, about 306 brake horsepower. This is the Mercedes silver colour. This is certainly, when you get inside the Mercedes SL, you can really see where the money's been spent. It does feel absolutely a step up compared to the Boxster S and the Audi TT. And this is probably this is probably somewhere around about 8k for me in value, with the year and the mileage. Conditions, well, it's good, bordering excellent, apart from the issue with the rear wheel arches just starting to bubble, which I'll get treated this year, and we'll see how that goes. And this comes with the optional panoramic sunroof as well. The auto works really well because it's so torquey, this 5 litre V8, and you can certainly get the SL350 gives you a lot that this car has but it takes a lot of the risk out with some of the parts, etc. But for me, if you're buying into the SL legend that it is, really decades and decades of Mercedes SLs, then it had to be the 500. But because it's so technically involved and it's now 15 years old, these can be complete money pits. So yeah, you've got to really be careful when you come to buy these. And as I say, when we have a look at some of the later videos, we'll talk specifically about these and the problems I've had. And I've had this car now for 2 or 3 years, and we'll have a really good look at the running costs of this car. And it's not a cheap car to run. However, if you keep it in good condition, if you keep this car in good condition, then you're unlikely to lose any money at all, and you're driving a true legend of a car, albeit it's more GT, Gran Turismo, than the Boxster or the TT. So this is really it for the part 1, which is just these are the 3 cars. You're going to see everything now over the next probably 12 months. I'm going to video each of these, and although on paper they're all very similar, the way they drive are all very different. They're all great cars, they've all got really good things, and they've all got problems as well, and I'm going to try to analyse that and see how it goes, because they're unlikely to go on tracks, but they are going to do a lot of commuting. We're going to be after the supermarkets, we're going to be doing A roads and B roads and trips into Wales, and things will go wrong, and there'll be great highs, there'll be great lows, and I want to take you on that journey so you can really see if you're interested in any of these three cars, these are all, they're all similarly priced, all around that 5 to 10k, and you can see which is right for you, because actually things like cup holders and practicality can be important when you're using it as one of your main cars. So everybody, that's my first ever YouTube video done. There's no fancy titles, there's no fancy music, it's just me and my 3 German sports cars, and hopefully financially I'll be able to run these for the full 12 months, and I'm going to post every few weeks to give you the warts and all. Some things that are really good, some things that are really bad, and things that are in the middle. So stay tuned, keep watching, and if you like it, give me the thumbs up. Thanks.